probably 3, 4, maybe 6 to 8 times a year, usually in July, August, and September, we will hear these just heartbreaking stories in the media, TV and radio, where some high school kid has died, high school athlete has died due to heat stroke. It's usually football, again, it's usually summer, like July, August, and September, but it's just absolutely devastating. And there's every time that happens, there's all this media attention to what can we do about it? How can we stop this? Because it's true, heat stroke is largely preventable. Now, later this summer, I'm going to talk to you about ways to, as summer practice starts and, beginning of August into July, some ways to get used to heat. But I want to talk about what we can do right now. I'm Dr. David Geyer, orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine specialist, and I provide education and commentary on all sorts of sports and exercise injuries and injury treatments and injury prevention for athletes and active people, probably much like yourself, so that you can stay healthy and perform at your peak. Now, like I said, this is, it's not a huge number of kids that die, young athletes, college-age athletes that die of exertional heat stroke every year. It can be as low as, 3 or 4. It can get up into the even double digits across the United States, but that's still too many because this is, again, it's largely preventable. And, we think of this being, associated with football, and that's largely true because of summer practices and all the equipment and the pads. But, again, we do see this. We see it related to two-a-day practices when they start, in the summer practice. A lot of times, I think 44% in the last study, 44% of the deaths from exertional heat stroke in football occurred on the first day of summer practice. So like I said, I'm going to come up with, and I'll share some tips on ways to, what we call, do acclimatization or acclimate to the heat as summer practices start, because that's really important. But again, at the beginning of June, I want to talk about what we can do now. And to get a sense on, the recommendation I'll share for you, you have to understand that a huge percentage of the young athletes that die due to exertional heat stroke are obese. The average age in one of the biggest studies on exertional heat stroke deaths in high school athletes showed that the average body mass index, BMI, was about 33, and we consider 30 obese. And we see these football players, they're bigger and they're stronger and they're faster than ever before, but we see these guys that have a lot of excess body fat, the offensive linemen and the defensive linemen, and yes, they are at risk. So at the beginning of this summer, this is the time to do something about that, so that when you report to camp end of July, beginning of August, you're not trying to get in shape at that point. So, get inside and get on the treadmill, or have your kids do that and try to get not just your cardiovascular endurance better, even though that's a good thing, but also to lose some of that body weight. Start lifting weights indoors, start doing more cardio training, more sports-specific training to build up your endurance. Maybe you start inside and then gradually try to get accustomed to the heat over, the course of June and July, so that not only are you getting in better shape, but you're also starting to get used to the heat. Waiting until summer practice starts, again, the end of July, beginning of August, is not the time to get in shape. You need to do that ahead of time. You want to report to camp in good cardiovascular shape with better body weight, better body mass index to lower your risk of exertional heat stroke. And yes, you're going to be dealing with a lot of heat in these summer practices, but if you've gotten in shape and you've gotten used to that heat and humidity gradually over 2 or 3 months, you're going to have a much better chance of not just not dying or having heat illness, but actually successfully practicing. So come into camp in shape and you'll minimize the chance of problems and yes, even death from exertional heat stroke once sports occurs. Now, do you have any suggestions on what we can do to keep young athletes healthy? I mentioned that we're talking largely about football, but this really applies to any sport that practices and competes in the summer months, in the hot and humid months. It's something that we need to get a handle on. So are there other recommendations that you would suggest if you're a coach or an athletic trainer or physical therapist, or maybe you're a parent of a young athlete? Below this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd share your thoughts. I'd love to hear them, and I'm sure everybody else would love to hear your thoughts on what we can do as well. And if you know people that have kids that play sports, maybe they play high school football, college football, please share this video with them. I hope that it can be helpful, to people, anybody whose kids are out there competing in this heat and humidity. Now, if you like information like this and you want more information on sports and exercise, injuries and injury treatments and injury prevention, I record a couple of these videos every single week. So subscribe to my YouTube channel and they'll get delivered directly to you. And last, there's a number of resources that I only share with my email list, completely free, but just go to my website, drdavidgeyer.com, enter your name and your email address. Again, there are all sorts of resources on ways to stay healthy and perform your best in sports and exercise, and I'll deliver those directly to you. Thank you so much for watching. Let's do our best to keep kids safe, keep them healthy, keep them performing their best as we go through the summer into the fall sporting season. Definitely share your thoughts on what we can do, and I look forward to seeing you right here next time.